Year-long challenges have always gone spectacularly, so, let's bring in another one. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife, and today I am taking you through my pile of possibilities for the 25 in 25 bingo board. This bingo board was created by my friend Brianna at Four Paws in a Book, and she thought that the perfect way to match our reading up in 2025 was to create a 5 square by 5 square bingo board with a couple of prompts that you could tick off over the year. So this is going to run from the 1st of January 2025 all the way to the 31st of December, a whole 365 days for me to forget that every single one of these books exists. There are a couple of generic prompts in here, but there are also a couple that are very specifically 2025 based. But let's see what it is that I have slotted into these so far. There are a couple of prompts here that I can't pick anything at the moment at all because they are based on challenges that are coming up or some information that we're going to get in the next couple of weeks. And at time of filming, I just don't have enough that I can fit them in here. What I can do is start off with the first square, a 2025 release, and that is going to be, hopefully, Great Big Beautiful World by Emily Henry. I am absolutely an Emily Henry stan. She brings out the phone book, I'm going to read it. So I am so hopeful that this is going to continue in that upward trajectory that I feel like Emily Henry's books are on at the moment for me. I absolutely adored Funny Story. I thought it was such a phenomenal story about life and about friendship and about familial expectations versus reality. It was also such a great look at building up a new relationship and building up new platonic relationships when you're living in a completely cut off area to where it was that you grew up with not a big support system. I've always loved Emily Henry's writing style, so I'm hopeful that I'm in good hands here again. For a book with a one-word title, I'm going to go with Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This has been in my TBR for about 2 years now, so I feel like this is the right time to actually tick it off. It has got LGBT rep, it is a historical fiction book that is set in London around the 1800s, and I am so intrigued by it. Back at the time of the Amazing Readathon in June, some people on my team read this and absolutely fell in love with it. They were so vague about all of the things that were going to happen, but I feel like I want to know what's going to go on here, so maybe it's just time to pick it up. A book that involves travel is going to be Mile High by Liz Tomfort. This is the first book in the Windy City series, and not only is Stevie, our main character here, a flight attendant, but Liz Tomfort herself is also a flight attendant. And that's something that I love when an author kind of self-inserts them into a book where it's an experience that they have lived through, it is a job that they have done, it is something that they know so much about that you know that this is going to be an authentically written book. I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go for me because it is a slight step in a different direction for the romances that I tend to read. I don't read a whole lot of polygamous romances. I don't read a lot of white shoes romances. This is going to be a step in a different direction, and I'm excited to see where it's going to take me. A book with a number in the title, and one that I have said I'm going to read for so long, is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I read A Love Song for Ricky Wilde at the start of 2024 and fell in love with it. The writing style was so engaging and so crisp and wonderful that I don't know why it is I didn't immediately go and pick up The Perfect Find and 7 Days in June straight away afterward. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a really good one to read in June and that it will finally come off my TBR. This could have gone into the number one, of course, but I have gone with it for a cover buy, and that is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is going to be a reread, but also a fresh read. I read this back in the Amazing Readathon in 2023, and to be quite honest with you, I have forgotten 95% of what happens in this book. Margaret, my friend from The Word Nerd, was reading this in the Amazing Readathon this year and was keeping in touch with me about all of the things that she was loving in this book and everything that she was experiencing. And I sat there staring at my phone going, I don't remember anything about this book. I don't remember having read this. I think it was because during the Amazing Readathon, I read so many books throughout the month that they all start to kind of blur into one another. So maybe if I take this at my own pace, if I give it the time and the attention that it deserves, by the end of this book, I'm actually going to be able to remember the storyline. Hopefully. There were so many directions that I could have gone for with a seasonal read. I could have gone for a thriller or a slightly horror book in October. I could have gone for a holiday read in December, but I decided to be a basic white girl and go for a summery romance in summer. So I have chosen The Beach Holiday by Isabel Broom. I love Isabel's writing, but I haven't read one of her books in a couple of years, so this is going to be a return to it. Isabel also writes a lot of books that feature travel and destinations right across the world, and this one is no different. It is set in the Hamptons in New York, and that is an area I have never been to, so I'm excited to live vicariously through Honor in this book. For a book with LGBTQ plus rep, I have gone with My Best Friend's Honeymoon by Meryl Wilsner. I have read 2 of Meryl's other books so far, Mistakes Were Made and Clee Cute, and I loved both of them. So I know that I'm in good hands here with their writing, and I am so interested to see what this book is going to be like. I also kind of enjoy the idea of a honeymoon gone wrong in a way, so I'm intrigued to see how that's going to work out. It might be a little similar to The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, a book that I absolutely love. This book isn't coming out until about April 2025, but the second that it comes out, I know I'm going to want to get my hands on it. Another 2025 release. For favourite author's new release, I am going with Dream On Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. Ashley Herring Blake and I have always had such a good time together. She has got a Christmas novel that is coming out this year that I genuinely cannot wait to get my hands on. I'm just not in the Christmassy spirit yet. But as soon as I heard that she had another book coming out, I instantly set my eyes on it. This is coming out around April or May of 2025 as well. So I don't know a whole lot about it. There hasn't been a whole lot of information given out yet. But it's got Ashley Herring Blake's name on it, and that's all I need to know. Is this necessarily a hyped book? I don't know, but I have heard a lot of things about the author. I've heard a lot of things about the series. So let's give it a try. For the hyped book, I'm going to go with The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I have heard so many good things about Elle Kennedy's writing. I know that there are so many series that I can get myself immersed into. There is the Off-Campus series. There's the Graham Diaries series. There is the Avalon Bay series. And I am just intrigued to see how we're going to gel. I've never read an Elle Kennedy book before, but I do have a couple of them already at my disposal. I have The Deal, I have all of the Avalon Bay series, and I have a couple of books from the Graham Effect that I got through NetGalley. So I need to actually bite the bullet and pick up an Elle Kennedy book for once. So we come to the first square that at time of filming I'm not able to fill in. This is about the Pantone color of the year, which comes out around late November to early December. I am no way clued in as to what this color is going to be, but it does have to appear on the cover in some fashion. Once the color of the year comes out, I'm definitely going to keep my eyes out for books on my shelf, either physically or on my Kindle, that have got that color in some description. For a POC author, I am going with Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I haven't read a single book of hers, and I know that she has got a 7-part series out, or somewhat out, that is also focused on all of the 7 deadly sins, which is such an intriguing concept to me. But I need to read this one first. This one has been on my TBR for about 1.5 to 2 years by now, and I've always been slightly intimidated by it because dark romance isn't really a thing for me. So I'm hoping if I give this one a try, it will make me see whether or not I could be a dark romance girly, or if I just need to stay in the contemporary section. For a novella, it might be tried and tested, it might be a book that I've already read about 25 billion times, but I'm still going to slot it in because I know this one is going to be ticked off. Every single Christmas Eve, without fail, I read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It is one of my favourite Christmas Eve traditions to curl up on the couch with my book, with a coffee, with maybe some cake or a snack, and just indulge in the coziness. Then, when the book is finished, I will call out to the rest of my family and we all sit down and watch the Muppets Christmas Carol together. It's one of my favourite things to do at Christmas time. I'm already looking forward to it this year, and I cannot wait to read this book again. For a 5-star prediction, I am going with Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. This is a book that I got from NetGalley, and I am a little bit intrigued by this one. The concept of it sounds really interesting in that there is a woman on the plane who, when she is with a group of people, can see how long their lives are going to last, whether it's that they end next week or that they end in the next 70 years. For a comped book, I am going with First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This book is going to be the first in a trilogy set somewhat loosely around the 3 Nora Ephron movies, Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally, and You've Got Mail. You've Got Mail is, without question, my favourite rom-com of all time. So when I heard that this series was coming out, it was an instant must-have for me. First Time Caller is going to be the take on Sleepless in Seattle, which is also one of my favourite rom-coms, so I'm really interested to see what this one is going to be like. For a friend rec, I'm going with Us Against You by Friedrich Bachmann. This was recommended to me by my friend Charlotte, who read the entire trilogy and cried her eyes out. I know how interesting I know how much of an impact this book is going to have on me. I have already read Beartown and was a shell of a person by the time I finished it. This book intimidates me just because of how much of an impact it's going to leave, because of how hard hitting it can be, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be in the mood for it anytime soon. This is a book that you really need to be in the right state of mind to read, and particularly with The Winners, which is the third book in the trilogy and is just over 670 pages long. But I love Frederick Backman's writing, and I love how unafraid he is to tackle genuinely some of the hardest topics out there. I know I'm going to be in good hands with this book. I just know that I need to be in the right frame of mind. Another book that intimidates me, mainly because of the size, for 400 pages or over, I have gone with almost double that. At 798 pages, I have decided to go for Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is set in Ireland. It is set around a rugby team, and I love both of those things. Naturally, I love books that are set in Ireland as an Irish person myself, but I'm also a huge rugby fan. In the time of the Six Nations, in the time of the Autumn Internationals, or the Rugby World Cup, you will always find me in front of the TV actually genuinely watching the action. So I am so intrigued to see what a book about a rugby team and a rugby romance is going to be like. I am hopeful that I'm in good hands here with Chloe Walsh, but let's just see how we get on. Special edition was a bit of a difficult one for me when I read through her because I don't have that many special editions. There is only one on my list, and technically it's not even in my possession yet. This is supposed to be a Christmas present, so pretend that I haven't seen this and pretend that I haven't shown you, but I have a copy of the special edition of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I absolutely adore the sprayed edges of this book, and I absolutely adore the story itself. So I feel like if there's any time that I need to just pick up a book that I love and that's going to bring me back around if I'm in a reading slump, Evelyn's gonna do it. This is my first instance of breaking the rules so far that they might actually shatter. For chapter titles, I have gone with Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan. This does have chapter numbers in there, but it also has the place where the action is taking place. So you might have chapter 1, the front room, Singapore. You might have chapter 2, New York. You might have chapter 3, Miami. I don't know if that's necessarily within the spirit of this, but I could not find anything else that would fit in. For debut author, I am going with The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I absolutely adore Gilmore Girls. It's one of my favorite autumn comfort shows. So I am so interested to read Emily Gilmore's story. I am so interested to see what Kelly Bishop's life was like before she became on-screen famous, before she was Baby's mother in Dirty Dancing, before she was Emily Gilmore on Gilmore Girls. I am so intrigued to see what the life that I didn't know she had was like. For a book with great mental health representation, I am going to put Heartstopper Volume 6 by Alice Oseman on this list. This hasn't come out yet, but I already know that it is going to have absolutely phenomenal representation because Alice Oseman has treated so many things perfectly in these books. Anything to do with anxiety or OCD or any other mental health issues has always been treated with so much care and love and respect that I just don't see it going any other way in the last book of the series. In Chinese astrology, 2025 is the year of the snake. So for a book with a snake on the cover, I am going to give a second try to A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. I tried to read this book in October 2024, but I think I read it too close in time to The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. The books weren't very similar, but I think in my head I had pictured it as a much more cozy book. This book was a lot steamier than I think I was expecting it to be. And I don't have an issue with smut in books. It's something that I genuinely enjoy reading. I think I just wasn't ready for it to be what it was. But now that I know what I'm getting myself in for, maybe it's going to be second time lucky. For a book that was self-published, I am going with Untouchable, the second book in the Ravenswood trilogy by Talia Hibbert. I absolutely adore the ground that Talia Hibbert walks on. I have never had a single bad experience with any of her books, and they've all been 3.5 or higher in terms of my rating. I am so intrigued to see how this one is going to go, and I am so interested to see how it's going to be as a change from her traditionally published books to the books that she published by herself. For a new to me author, I am going with The Duke and I, the first book in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I want to get on the Bridgerton hype train so hard. I know so many people who have read and loved these books, and I know that the series is about 3 or 4 books deep by this stage, and I haven't seen a single scene of it. I have been trying to avoid it the entire time. I have a feeling it's going to be a really good winter transitional into spring kind of a series. So hopefully get this book read, get the first 4 books in the series done, and I can actually watch what's on Netflix already. For TBR vet, I am going with Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. This has been on my TBR since about 2019. That is, by the time 2025 rolls around, 6 years previously. It cannot keep going for that long. This is actually on my self-destruct list for 2025 as well. So there's 2 reasons that I need to get this read. 1, so that it will fill the 25 and 25 bingo square. And 2, so that it will actually either stay on my TBR or be kicked off from the self-destruct. The final square is another one that, as of now, I cannot fulfill it. I am waiting for the announcement of the 2025 Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. I take part in this every single year without fail. It's one of my favorite reading challenges to do across the entire year. And I'm going to work this one in tandem here. I'm going to fit in one of the books for one of those prompts, even if there is a prompt that is exactly the same copy pasted for both of these challenges. I'm going to see if I can find a different one and slot it in here. So once the 2025 list has been released, I'm going to take a look at it and I'm going to fit in one here. Those are the books that I am hoping that will tick off all of the squares on the 25 and 25 bingo board made by Brianna from 4 Paws in a Book. Are you planning to also play bingo with us this year? What is one square that you think you can already tick off because you've got the perfect book for it? If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me a snake emoji for the year of the snake. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.